Always look at me so I could do a photo for an Instagram story. Just wave at me or something. All right, sweet. So now we're going to go into the questions which were produced by the wonderful organizing committee. Once again, I believe it's 3 minutes for your response. This time we'll start with Francesco. And let's do this question here. We have less than a dozen years left to dramatically reduce greenhouse gas emissions or face severe global climate change. What is your party's plan what is your plan for reducing emissions, and how is it more effective than that of the other parties or candidates? Starting with Francesco. 3 minutes.
Okay. First off, our party, and I'm going to get some backlash on this, don't believe in a crisis of climate.
Let's keep things civil, folks.
The only reason behind that is they've been saying that for over 100 years, and we're still here, still breathing, and there's...
Hey guys, sorry, I'm just going to interrupt. Just pause the timer for a second. Really, it would be so unfair for all the candidates if every time they said something that one or two or 100 people disagreed with, that they had to hear anything. So they've taken the time to be here, you've taken the time to be here. There will be time for you to submit questions, and of course you all get to vote on election day. But I think it would be more productive if we didn't heckle. And again, the House of Commons, I think, is an embarrassment to our species, the way they heckle each other. And I'd like to see us not replicate that here tonight. And restart the timer. Thanks. Back to you, Francesco.
This does not mean we are against environmental issues. We believe in keeping our waters clean, our land clean, and our air clean. Taxing carbon is not the way to do this. It's only increasing cost on transportation, making goods cost more, which does affect the poorer individuals having to spend more. Now, there are factors that can be brought forward to alleviate a lot of these issues. One thing would be to propose to go more nuclear energy. It is a lot safer than it has been over the last 30 years. It is a clean source of energy. France presently right now runs on 90%, whereas Germany barely runs it, and they've been running on clean energy, trying to run on clean energy or renewable energies for the last few years, and they're about 75%. They're having a hard time dealing with those influxes of electricity due to sun only coming out at certain times and wind only working at certain times. This has actually increased their cost of electricity, whereas in France the cost of electricity has gone down. Cleaning up our waterways is a big thing. I can't stand hearing about the liberals dumping sewage into the St. Lawrence Seaway. If this is such an issue, it needs to be addressed as immediately as possible. It's clean waters. It's affecting the fish in the area. It's affecting the beluga in the area. Clean land, keeping our land clean has always been a huge thing, especially when I was growing up. You see a piece of litter, pick it up. You have a piece of litter, keep it in your pocket. When I was growing up, it was reduce, reuse, and recycle. Not just recycle, reusing. You know, I reuse, my mother and I, we've all learned to reuse, you know, your containers from, you know, you get from your margarine containers, reuse that as a container, or a glass container from your like salsa, to use that as a mason jar. Reusing paper, I reuse a lot of my paper for my kids' crafts. And then there's and reduce. That just comes down to common sense. That comes down to using less of your water, turning it off, less electricity, turning off your electricity when it's not needed, and so forth. Thank you.